Here we go again, here we go again, here we go again. What does DMD got for you? All right, so we're back here again, and we have got quite a show for you today. First of all, we're gonna piss off the neighbors, so sorry, but it won't be for too long, because what we're gonna do is we have this decibel meter here, and we're gonna see how loud these things can actually go, and we're gonna kind of compare it. Now this is a 200 watts, so I'm expecting this to be louder, and the KSR PA50 is 50 watts. So this is all tube, and this is all solid state here. So we're gonna switch between those two with the quad Cortex, and we're gonna see which one sounds better and which one is louder. Let's check it out. All right, so my plan is to go through some tones with this and try to figure out, okay, we're gonna go through some of the solid state stuff with some of the captures that I got. I'm gonna tell you guys what preset I'm using and switching out the amp model that's in the quad Cortex using the captures that I have. So, and we'll also do one with a stock, so you guys have a reference as well. And then we're also going to try it with the tube and just kind of compare both of them. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get this started. Let's go ahead and start with some cleans. You know, we're going to ramp up to something and have fun. All right, so here's what we got. We're going to go ahead and do the Seymour Duncan first and see what it sounds like, all right? All right, cool. Sounds solid state like, you know. This is actually a twin reverb that I captured, and I kind of like this one because it has it's a Fender, you know. If you're going to do it clean, just go ahead and do a Fender on this, okay? So let's go over and hop over to the KSR. I've already set these up to have the same kind of volume, so we should be good there. And I set the KSR to noon for all of the switches here, the top, bottom, and the negative feedback, and as well as the Seymour Duncan. So let's see what this KSR sounds like. So this one, the KSR, sounds a lot rounder. That's a good thing, and that's kind of what I expect from a tube amp. So let's go back over to the solid state. KSR. All right. So, it's kind of hard to decipher compared to what you're hearing through the mics. So we're going to go ahead and keep on going. And next we're going to try a crunch. So this is a crunch that I did from a JCM 800. This is a cool capture. I use a Sir load box to capture these guys, and that's really made me happy with those kind of captures. Here's the crunch. We're going to go back to the Seymour Duncan. All right. All right, so let's check out the KSR. to Seymour Duncan. KSR. Seymour Duncan. KSR. Duncan. KSR. They're pretty close. Still, the KSR is more rounded sounding. So, and I mean, the Seymour Duncan isn't doing that bad, you know. I expected the KSR to be exponentially better, but we also haven't messed with these knobs yet, like the noise feedback to sculpt our tube. So let's go ahead and keep on going. So now we're going to go to one of my favorite captures. It's the Jet Seat. I don't know if you can see this, but I got a Jet Seat over here that is has the slow mod to it, and every time I capture this thing, it's beefy. It's awesome. So here is Jet City slow mod. All right, so that was the KSR. Let's go over to the Seymour Duncan here. All right, let's go back to the KSR. All right, let's go back over to the Seymour Duncan and see if we can make it sound a lot more like the KSR. So it sounds like this is rounder, has more bass. Here's some more bass, drop the mids, a little more treble. I'm not gonna mess with the presence yet. This is the KSR. And this is Seymour Duncan. I mean, I expect it. It's so minuscule. But if you're an audiophile and you just have to have it, that is tube, you know. The Seymour Duncan is kind of lacking a little bit in how wide it sounds. So let's see if we can get a little bit closer, actually. Some more bass. Back to the KSR. Seymour Duncan. KSR. Seymour Duncan. close. Oh man, why did I spend $700 on a KSR when it's Seymour Duncan? I already had. This thing is what, $400 new? I think I got this thing for $250 used. That I got used for $700, and I think it's $1,000 brand new. Correct me if I'm wrong with that. But what we're going to do is we're going to go through, and actually there's a little secret to this. It's called, what is it called? The Hi-Fi mode. The Hi-Fi mode is actually for modelers. It makes it brighter, gives it that more kind of hi-fi sound, I guess. So let's go ahead and try that. So without it, with it on. Now that, man, that sounds awesome. That actually really did open it up. Let's go back to Seymour Duncan. So there's definitely more presence, so let's give it that. Back to KSR. Okay, I'm actually going to mess with this a little bit. Let's go ahead and give it more bottom. Cut the top back a little bit. Back to Seymour Duncan. Ah, so now we're starting to hear the difference, or at least I am. So there's the Seymour Duncan. Oh man, this is so much more present. Okay, that switch is it. That switch is the magic. Do not play this thing without that switch. Now, if you have a really high frequency kind of model, I would probably switch it down just to kind of help out with that. But that sounds awesome. So let's go ahead and start messing with the NFB and see what kind of tone shaping we can get out of that. Oh man, that sounds awesome. It sounds like it got a little brighter, but it opened up so much more. I would actually go to the actual capture and kind of tweak it a little bit. All right, let's go back to Seymour Duncan. Let's get some mids. Let's go back over to the KSR. Okay, given the mids, definitely got it closer to the KSR. That's the Seymour Duncan. KSR. Oh man, that is tough. I'm having a hard time with that. It's up to you. Like, do you want that little bit of openness that the KSR gives you? And I also think you can put in EL34s and KT77s into this thing. I think it accepts all that, and you have a bias adjust here as well. All right, so let's actually go through one of the main captures or not captures, but amps, presets that are on the Quad Cortex, so you guys have an actual reference here. And we're gonna do my favorite, which is probably everybody's favorite, right? The EVH5153, so the 5153 Red channel. We're going to take off the IR, all right? All right, so we're on the KSR right now. Give us some more top. All right, the Seymour Duncan. KSR. Yeah, okay, the KSR is just way more articulate. All right, I think it's about time to piss off the neighbors. What do you guys think? So, this is part of the reason why I got this decibel meter here. I've noticed, and it's going to be hard to kind of test this. I do have a mic, a Lewitt mic, back here in the back that's been picking up the room sound, and I have SM57 down here picking up close. They're both going through this guy, and the cab is running 16 ohms, so they're both kind of running at that. So, well, let's crank this thing. Let's see if we can start pushing these guys. And there's little clipping for the power amp and the preamp. So what we're more worried about is the power amp clipping. And on this guy, I think it's the fault. I've asked a question. I don't have an answer for it yet. But once this fault thing goes off, I think that's when it starts kind of crapping out on me. As far as the tone just kind of gets lost and it starts getting, you know, like overloaded sounding. So, all right, we're going to make this happen. We're going to piss some people off. All right, so first we're going to start off with the Seymour Duncan, right? All right, so we're at 104, 103. All right, so the power amp clip is starting to go off now. That is pretty loud. To run it at that, I think you can still run it at that. I've noticed that I've actually tried this at a practice, and I felt like it wasn't as loud as a tube amp could get. And that's where I was just kind of questioning it. And I think a lot of people are having that problem. And, you know, I'm in the metal band, so I need to get over the drums. Sometimes we have, you know, the triggers going and stuff. And, yeah, you know, metalheads need to turn down everything so we can hear everything. But, you know, I don't want to be held back. There's a level, like, I want to get to that I feel like I've not been able to get to with this. And a lot of people's had, I think, one of my buddies on the Neuro DSP groups, he's been having this question too, and I kind of wanted to go through and figure that out. So if anybody's got some tips on, you know, how hard we can push these power amps until it's, you know, it's not good, let us know. So now we're going to go ahead and do the KSR. So we were at 104 on the decibel meter here. So let's go ahead and see what we can do with this one. All right, so the fault really was, you know, lighting up red there. Let's try to give the Seymour Duncan one more chance, because I think this got up to 106. So let's go ahead and try again. We're going to try to get this guy to go solid. Okay, so let's try it. Okay, so these can get pretty dang loud, but you know what? This might be, I don't know, the decibel reader. Let's try it again because I didn't see that. We're at 108, 110, okay? So let's go ahead and go back to this KSR. All right, so there we go. I think we have our answer. They're about the same, level of volume. They both can do it. This is 200 watts, but this is solid tube going at 50 watts RMS. So I think they're about the same. We saw it on here that they're both, hitting hard with the power amp clipping, and they started both going solid around the same decibel level. So the question is, can you push it that hard at that level? Because this one definitely started, crapping out on me. I could tell out here, and I don't know what it's going to sound like through the mics and stuff, but it was definitely not pleasant. But do we need it that loud? Because, when you play live, I personally want my cab behind me. But, of course, I'd like to have something going out to the monitors as well. Do I need to mic my stuff, the cab? No. But I'd like to have it as a reference so I can, feel the air pushing behind me. So it's important to me. I think that you would be totally fine doing with the Seymour Duncan. The question is, can we push it that hard and for how long? It's probably not good for it. I'd like some answers on that. The KSR, the same deal. You get to that level, it is at that level where it's like, okay, now I can be heard, over a drummer and all that stuff. But is it going to kill it? I don't know. To push it that hard, what's going to happen to it? It hasn't been out there long enough for us to know for either of these. So there you go. Hope you liked the video. I hope this answered some questions. I really do want this to be a discussion, and I want people to, have some comments about this. So go in the comments, give me your thoughts, and let's talk. D&D out.